Hello, and welcome back to today's live. Coming live to you talking about type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, insulin resistance, inflammation, gut health, liver health, blood sugar, like everything. That's what we talk about here. And we talk about reversing type 2 diabetes, inflammation, insulin resistance, gut health issues, all of that with whole food, natural food, and like food and lifestyle strategies. Because I truly believe that if you are going to move the needle forward and you are going to actually reverse your conditions, which is completely possible, you have to approach it from many different angles. There's not just one thing that you're going to do. Because if you just focus on, say, just your blood sugar, if there are underlying issues that caused you to have these blood sugar issues in the first place and you don't deal with those, you will never fully heal. And that is why I believe that there are truly three-ish pillars to reversing type 2 diabetes, reversing anything, reversing eczema, psoriasis, type 2 diabetes, anything, is that you have to look at the symptom, the root cause, and the damage. Once you resolve those three things, your body essentially exists as though it never happened. But if you don't hit on all of those things, then you're missing the mark a little bit. And you might not actually get to the heart of the matter. And what I mean by that is that I believe that there are three pillars to reversing type 2 diabetes. The first one is blood sugar. You have to manage what's going on with your blood sugar. You have to flatten your curves. You have to make sure you're not spiking and dipping after meals. You have to make sure that you're not just like spiking and staying high after meals. You have to make sure that you are sleeping through the night and not waking up because you're having cortisol events in the night because of glucose. Yes, if you wake up in the middle of the night every single night, it could be your blood sugar. So you have to think about that. And then it goes deeper. Once you stop doing that, then you're like, okay, well, why did I have these issues? Likely there's something going on in your liver. There's potentially something going on in your gut. Your lifestyle might need some adjustments in order to heal that layer, because that's the second layer. Almost everything is rooted in our gut health. And it makes sense to me because our gut is at our center. It's our nucleus. It's the center of the universe, our universe. Other than the heart, if the gut is not strong, you're getting sick all the time. You're getting yeast infections. You're having, heavy, painful periods. You eat and get bloated and feel terrible. Like, the gut is everything. And so if you then deal with your blood sugar spikes and dips and you're like, okay, now I'm going, or just blood sugar issues, glucose issues, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to go deeper. You're going to have to resolve your gut and your liver. When people say gut health, I think it's important to be clear about the fact that it is your liver too, not just like your stomach, your small and large intestine. Your liver is also a gut health organ because everything that you eat, everything that you consume, the air that you breathe, the stuff you put on your skin, the things that you eat, all of that is digested and processed by the liver as far as toxins are concerned. And so if you are not paying attention to liver health, and you're feeling the pinch, like you're not feeling good in your body, that is a place to look. This is like off topic, but if you also are someone who has thyroid issues, working on liver health and also boosting your thyroid. But the liver is like a direct path to the thyroid. Often when your liver is super, down bad, your thyroid will feel it. I also just want to remind everyone that if you have a question, you can post it in the comment box and I will try to answer it. So that's the second layer, liver and gut health. Very important. The liver is so important, but so is the gut. How you digest food, what happens when you eat, all of that. Very important. Once you do that work, because that's root cause, that's like, okay, I'm fixing my gut health. My allergies are reducing, like I'm feeling less joint and body pain. It's like amazing. But then once you do that, the last part is inflammation. Inflammation is the damage that's been done. Honestly, every time we have a glucose event, there is an inflammatory response that is the result of that. And so that damage happens and it stays unless you do something about it. That's the thing about inflammation. You get it, you got it, unless you get rid of it. And so you have to be, again, intentional about doing that kind of stuff. So, there's a lot of ways to reduce inflammation. And two of the best ways, honestly, are working on your blood sugar and also working on your gut health. But working on inflammation can come down to like eating more turmeric or taking a turmeric supplement. Turmeric is incredibly anti-inflammatory. So the thing about turmeric is if you're taking curcumin, which is like the thing they pull out of turmeric, like the active ingredient, you also need to take that supplement with pepper, because in order to activate that, it needs pepper in the mix. But if you're taking actually just turmeric root, just ingesting that will give you the benefits that you need. When I was reversing inflammation that I had the second time, because I got COVID and then had like really bad inflammation as like a long effect, so I had to do some work in order to get rid of it. I started just like turmeric everything, putting turmeric in my rice, taking turmeric supplements, making turmeric lattes. Like it was turmeric every minute of every moment, because it is incredibly detoxifying as far as inflammation is concerned. It helps like move it out of the body. The thing about inflammation is that stress makes inflammation worse, and that's all kinds of stress. So often people think of stress, they're like, oh, well, like, you know, I'm not stressed. I don't get stressed at work. But it's like, are you sleeping well? If you're not sleeping well, that's causing stress on the body. If you are having consistent cortisol responses, that's having stress on the body. If you are having a lot of blood sugar spikes and dips, stress on the body. So you need to be very mindful of not just what you eat and things that you ingest when it comes to inflammation and just anything really of healing vibes, is that it's also lifestyle things that you're doing too. Okay, there's some questions. My A1C was a 6 and I can't get my fasting sugars to be under 100. I've been trying everything. It would be hard to know without like sitting down with you and talking to you and seeing what you're doing, because there could just be a disconnect. Sometimes it's a very small shift, and that small shift makes a huge difference. I had a gestational diabetes client, and it was literally one small thing that like I think she just didn't even really think about. And when we went through it together, she was like, oh my God, that's it. And her doctor again said her gestational diabetes was like gone. It was a miracle. It's like, no, this is the work that we do. So, I don't know what you're trying. And again, that's like a little more personal than these lives are. So if you do want to do a session, you definitely should. And we can like get into it. Because sometimes like we just don't know what we don't know, you know? Someone said, so if I take turmeric curcumin pill, am I supposed to drink black pepper? Yeah, exactly. If you're taking curcumin as opposed to just like a turmeric supplement, like whole turmeric in a pill, you need to take some black pepper with it. Maybe eat something when you take it and have like it be peppery. I don't know. Or I don't know how you would take the pepper. I don't know. I take just a whole turmeric supplement, and I eat a lot of turmeric. I put it in juices and things, if you hadn't noticed by looking through my feed. So yeah, that's important to note about turmeric. Okay, just scrolling up, make sure I don't miss any questions. Have I heard anything on metformin and low B12? I think that any taking like anything like daily that's like a pharmaceutical nature, depletes the body. So you've definitely got to be more mindful of like, again, nutrient content. If you are taking anything pharmaceutical, I have said so many times, and I always repeat it, I'm never the person that's going to tell you to like go off of these things. But what I will say is that your game has to be tight, sewn all the way up, in the sense that you have to be like really good about like doing castor oil packs a couple times a week to really detox your liver and just like boost your liver, help it, move all the things that it's having to deal with through. You need to be really good about like whole foods, just like approaching life with like from a whole foods perspective, as opposed to a lot of like processed foods and packaged foods, because what your body is just experiencing like nutrient deficiency based on just taking something consistently day over day. So you just have to be like, testing your blood, maybe getting like a GI map or maybe a Dutch test, seeing where all your levels are if you want to go like deep, and then figuring out how to supplement and eat from there. But if you're feeling low B12, then, resolve that. But again, I always say that These are sort of like signals to your body, and you have to like take the hint and like sort of figure it out. So I would never say to go off metformin, but I would say that you need to like really boost everything else and like be good at everything else. Get like good sleep, hydrate, the whole nine. The whole nine. Okay, there's a bunch of questions. Sorry, just scrolling. Will losing weight reverse my insulin resistance for good, or is diet more important? It depends. That's like so subjective because there's many people in bigger bodies who have amazing blood sugar. It's not always about weight, really. I think that in some cases, like in like morbid obesity vibes, like I think that's where you start to see more of like health concerns, but also like your body type isn't really always it, because there's like super skinny people with like bad type 2 diabetes, so it's not really that. That being said, if you are holding on to weight because you eat a lot of processed foods, maybe you lead a sedentary lifestyle, and that's why you might be overweight or carrying extra weight, and like maybe you need to resolve those habits, and like whatever your weight gets to, that's like where you belong kind of thing. So diet is important, but if like weight loss is a byproduct of that in that process, like great, but don't be focused on weight loss ever. It's like futile. And it's also one of those things that's like a really bad, just like from a strategy perspective, like a bad way to go about it. You don't get like a positive feedback loop quick enough from like weight loss than you do from like eating for good digestion, eating for good sleep, starting to eat for an anti-inflammatory vibe, starting to flatten your glucose curves. Once you start doing that, and if the byproduct is weight loss, amazing. But if you're like eating for better digestion, in like a couple of weeks, your digestion is going to feel much better. Certainly if you're like, really adhering to like a protocol. But you won't see weight loss benefits for like 3 months. Lots of people quit before 3 months. So it's like, don't even focus on that. And also don't make it about weight. Make it about health. You are not like, don't think about losing weight. Think about you're gaining so much health and so much wellness and like feeling good in your body. That's like it. Because I mean, that's like the most radiating of health vibe is, someone who's like healthy and happy in their body. So someone who is healthy and happy in their body sleeps really well, digests well, probably doesn't have a lot of inflammation, has stress management strategies, like all of that, which will reverse your insulin resistance, reverse your type 2 diabetes, do all of that. And if weight loss is the byproduct, oh my God, how amazing. So I think diet is important just for life, but I don't like to call it diet because people are so triggered by that word, and I get it. But it's a lifestyle. Really. And then where your body lands is kind of where it is. Like, I really take that on for myself. Like, I am not the skinniest person. I know that. But I also live a really healthy lifestyle. And if this is where my body wants to be, okay, like, I'm okay with that. And that's just like where I am. And I'm happy. And like, that's it. And I think it's a pretty attractive vibe. Like, I could still get it. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I think it doesn't have anything to do with that ever. It should never be weight loss. It should be about like being healthy and like feeling good and happy. What whole foods can I give examples? Well, whole foods just means like from the source. So chicken, like vegetables, fruits, not in the can, but like fresh herbs, like if it's dairy, it's not like super heavily processed. Like if you're drinking almond milk, oat milk, any of that, you're making it yourself. Almond milk, I'm cool with. Coconut milk, I vibe, because I'm Caribbean, so I would vibe with anything coconut. But like oat milk, I don't think you should ever drink it. It's just like, it's carb water. And if you make almond milk at home, it's actually so delicious. But any of the plant-based milks are heavily processed. That falls under processed food. If you're eating like fake meat, fake eggs, fake anything, that is not whole food. So, yes, that's like sort of whole food. Okay, pre-diabetic, any tips on how to reverse it? Hold on, I just want to get up here. Oh my God, there were so many questions. Sorry, everyone. Pre-diabetes, I would encourage you to join the blood sugar workshop. I'll teach you everything you need to know to like actually move the needle. But my first and the tip I always give is apple cider vinegar. You need to start like loving on apple cider vinegar, always with a straw so you protect your teeth. And before meals, in between meals, like spike your water with it so you're just like apple cider vinegaring all the time. That helps your body become more insulin sensitive and reduce any potential spike that you would have from your meals by up to 30%. That's pretty huge. And it's not cost prohibitive. That's what I like about it. It's also not like effort and like skill prohibitive, you know? If you know how to pour into a glass of water, you absolutely can take up on that. And so that would be where I would start because it's the easiest thing to adopt. Like apple cider vinegar is great. If you're pregnant, you don't want to do raw, you can do the other vinegar, but I would just, when I'm working with people who have gestational diabetes, we don't ever really do apple cider vinegar. We do other things only because I just think that like, sometimes it can feel like you really have to like skull it and it like makes your eye twitch. I just don't think you should be doing anything like that when you're pregnant. I think when you're pregnant, it should be like all, like everything you take in that you can should be like all positive. And so I just don't do apple cider vinegar like for pregnancy at all. Do other things. But if you want to, make sure that it's not raw. Because if it's raw, that actually can hurt your baby. Because it's raw. You just don't know. You never know what's going to happen. That's why they suggest against all raw food. So that would be my suggestion. Someone like tried to argue with me the other day about it, and I was just like, okay, whatever. But that's what I would suggest. What about type 1 diabetes? Unfortunately, and I'm so sorry, I am not versed in type 1 diabetes. It is a completely different thing, and I would never want to hurt somebody. My brother-in-law has type 1 diabetes, and I wish I could help. I just don't know enough. I don't have enough experience. What I will say, though, is that as someone who has type 1 diabetes and has been probably on insulin like your whole life or a long time in many cases, doing a lot of work to, again, boost your liver and make sure your liver feels taken care of, eating like, whole food based and like, trying to throw some lifestyle around it will help you just like feel better. I don't know about like blood sugar stuff because yours is like more autoimmune than it is like food lifestyle. Again, so I don't have that much experience. But if you just want to feel better, if you're feeling like not the best, a lot of the things I share can help. But they might not help with your blood sugar, but they'll help you feel better, if that makes sense. I'm insulin dependent. Is that reversible? It depends. If you're type 2, yes. But if you're type 1, no, I don't know. What have I cut out in terms of carbs? I eat everything. I don't cut out anything. I don't drink very much at all. The situations that I'll drink in is if it's worth the inflammation. Because that's what happens when you drink. It's one of the most inflammatory things you can do. And after my post-COVID inflammation, I was like, okay, I'm not drinking. And I didn't drink for months. And then I like have more of a just discerning relationship with it. So for me, if I'm drinking and the inflammation has to be worth it, it's either a cocktail that is like, I need to have it. There was a hibiscus sorrel cocktail on the menu of the restaurant I went to last night. So absolutely, I had one because I like to live life. That being said, I wore my castor oil pack last night. I took apple cider vinegar in water before I went. I had chia seeds before I went to bed. Like I'm trying to add in things that are going to like reduce the inflammation. And also like if it's a wedding or like a trip, yeah, I'm going to drink on those times. But that's probably the only thing I would like cut out, and I have cut out completely. There was a point early in my eczema healing journey where I gave up like everything, like all the foods. I talk about it in the Blood Sugar Fix, which is the 12-week program that hits all of these pillars. Is that like I gave up everything. Like it would be easier for me to name the foods I did eat as opposed to naming what I couldn't. But then when I started to understand like root causes and like symptoms, root causes and like damage and all that whole stuff, it kind of changed my perspective. So I eat everything. I try and like just eat like high quality. That's really it. I don't cut out anything. Like, I eat dairy, but it's high quality. I eat bread, but it's like sourdough. It's the only bread I really eat. It's the only bread I really like, to be honest. Maybe it's like this thing in my head where I'm like, ooh, this bread's bad. But no bread's bad, but I just think that, like, I'm a sourdough girl. That's pretty, I mean, yeah, no, I haven't cut out anything. Again, you have to just be more discerning about what the carbs are and also how you eat them. So I was shocked it went down that much because I didn't lose weight, because your A1C went down. I guess being mindful of food helped. Yeah, I mean, again, we just can't really focus on weight. We were lied to when we were told that was like the only measure of health. And so now we all have to like deprogram ourselves from that, because you can be so healthy and in a bigger body. There are people who are skinny who are like so unhealthy. It's crazy. So yeah, no more weight loss. It's about health gain. Someone says, yes, I say change eating habits or lifestyle. Exactly. Someone said eating less bread, no chips, rice, etc. Eat more veggies and protein. Yeah, honestly though, like one of my favorite foods is chips. I think I eat like at least 5 chips a day. And I say at least 5 chips because sometimes I'll just like have a chip and like I'm done. Sometimes I have to have like many chips. So again, I still eat all the foods. I just crowd it around these habits with good ones. Because like, I just don't think like if anything were to happen to me, I would be happy I didn't have the chip. I would be like, damn, I wish I had that chip. So I kind of like always run everything I do through that filter too. So that is why I'm so invested in like finding all the strategies that help us still live our lives but be healthy. That's why I look into the science of like blood sugar, like healing, like mindset, all of that, because I know there's like a better way than like punishing ourselves to health. I just don't think that's the vibe. But yes, veggies and protein, always good. Someone said, am I Trinidadian by chance? Yes, I am. I don't know. Can you tell? I feel like people haven't been able to tell before, but maybe now. How do I drink apple cider vinegar? Just water. So 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to 8 ounces of water for blood sugar, 1 to 30 minutes before the meal. And if you're doing it for digestion and blood sugar, the ratio of water has to be less because it has to be more concentrated and has to be raw. Again, so not pregnancy. And that's 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to about a 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of water. So yeah. How much carbs a day do I need to limit to? Honestly, macronutrient requirements are different for everybody. That's like so personal. But I also don't count things. I hate it. Makes me crazy. Counting like calories, counting carbs, counting anything. I don't really do that. Just it doesn't bring me joy. So I don't do it. But there's a lot of people on TikTok that I'm sure could help you with that, but I'm not experiencing that. Instead, again, I create like a framework around the eating of carbs, so I don't really have to count them. And also, like, something that is also worth mentioning is when your glucose curves are flat and your blood sugar is stable, you don't crave carbs. I don't really crave sweets. Like, someone could eat like people often eat candy right in front of me or like sweets right in front of me, and I just don't need them because, again, I like have stable blood sugar. Like if I eat something that is like a carby thing, it's a choice. It's not like I had to do it. Oh my gosh. So I don't do it very often. So you'll also notice that. And so in terms of like limiting carbs, I think that the goal should actually be like getting your blood sugar in balance so that your carb cravings and your relationship to carbohydrates improves. I gave that. Is apple cider vinegar good for you along with prescription pills? I don't know what your prescriptions are, so I don't know. That would be up to you to like check. If you have something like gastritis or GERD, you might want to not do apple cider vinegar in the beginning. But if you have those conditions, that is like a sign of like something going on in your gut. So you got to do some gut health work, but eventually you should be fine. But like, yeah, gastritis, GERD, like anything like that, that's like a sign that either like that just something is going on in your gut. And something that's really insane about the gut is that it's so connected to our emotions. So, and it's also connected to like, yeah, how we feel, like trauma. So if you are doing everything for your gut and you're like still coming up against resistance, it might be time to look at the mental, emotional side of things. For me, dealing with my daddy issues was like transformative for not just my mental health, obviously, and my spiritual and emotional health, but also for the health of my body. Like I just felt better, like feel better. I was able to like move forward with more trust. Like it's insane. So you got to do that if that's like some resistance that you have. But I don't know if apple cider vinegar is good along with your prescription, so you would have to check that. Someone says try cutting red meat. Depends. I wouldn't, again, suggest any blanket statements ever. You really have to know someone's lifestyle. Before you start cutting things, you need to test. Unless it's like processed food or stuff. Like that stuff you can cut, obviously. But cutting like whole like protein source food groups is not the way to do it necessarily. You got to test. You got to know. You got to be like individualized. And again, that's why I think that I get so annoyed when like people with PCOS, for instance, are told like you can't have dairy. It's like, that's probably not what it is. But like now that person is not having like, you know, a little bit of cream in their coffee and that makes them happy in the morning. Like that's terrible to me. So never blanket statements, always nuance. What about taking an apple cider vinegar supplement instead? Depends. Sometimes the gel capsules work, but you have to take a lot of them, enough to like make up like 1 tablespoon. So it might be like 4 or 5, chill, whatever, if you're into that. But you have to make sure that it's potent enough that it actually works. So I don't really do that just because I want to be sure. Honestly, I just like prefer that. But if that's something you're doing, take the apple cider vinegar pills before a meal. See how you feel after the meal. If you're hungry or tired or whatever, within like an hour and a half, they probably didn't work. So that's something to consider. Have I ever looked into whole food plant-based for insulin resistance? I'm looking into it myself. I don't believe that a fully plant-based diet is the way. Personally, a lot of deficiencies can arise. Also with plant-based, if you are relying on things like quinoa and certain things like that have a protein value, they behave like carbs. So you could actually start to see your numbers actually do bad things as far as insulin resistance or like prediabetes or type 2 diabetes going plant-based. If that's something that like ethically you're moving toward, my suggestions to you would be that it's very focused on like whole foods. None of the fake meats, none of the processed anything. Like it's vegetables. If you're having like a plant-based burger, you made it out of like beans and walnuts, if you like feel me. So it has to be like, you have to work very hard in a plant-based diet to make sure that it, 1, doesn't mess with your blood sugar, and 2, you are getting the protein in the ways that your body can digest it properly. Thing about plant-based is if you eat a really bad diet for years and then you switch to plant-based, you're going to feel amazing for about 6 months because you're eating more vegetables than you ever have. You're clearing out the debris because you're eating so much fiber. But once you get to around that 6-month point, if you are not getting enough protein that your body can digest, plant-based proteins are harder for the body to access in a lot of ways. If your body is not getting enough protein that it can digest, then you will start to feel tired, foggy, gloomy. Your mood might be affected. Your gut, eating a lot of raw vegetables and raw foods, especially for women all month long, can actually harm the gut because there are certain parts in our cycle when our body craves warm, soft, easy foods. And if we're just always like eating vegetables, beans, sometimes that can be hard on the body. So I'm not dissuading you from it. It's not something that I would do for me, but that's me. But if you are going to do it, you have to be very, like I said, sewn up. Game's got to be tight. Just seeing questions. Underactive thyroid, PCOS, and type 2. I'm not a drinker at all. I would suggest in that case that you do a Dutch test or a GI map, like a GI stool test kind of thing. So stool is like a GI map, and urine is a Dutch test. And so I would do that because there's something happening in your body. Your body is giving you many signals that there's something going on, and you got to find it. It could be like a parasite. It could be something like that. It could be something going on with your liver. Even if you aren't a drinker, there's non-fatty liver disease, which comes from like other things other than just like drinking. So I would really suggest that to you. One thing that I say all the time is that it can get costly, this journey of healing, because some of these things you have to pay out of pocket for. Unfortunately, like I had to do it. It's just the way that it is. But the intel that and like the time it saves you honestly, it's like worth it. So I would do that in your case, just because you have 3 things going on that I think you could probably get to the bottom of, but I think you might just be looking in the wrong place. Can A1C get within normal range, but someone still be pre or type 2? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. It depends on like how long you're in normal range. Like if you're just there for like an hour, no. But if you like bring all your numbers down within like a normal or healthy range, in the green, as they say, then I don't think you would have type 2. But again, how long is it down? Is it down for like a day and then it's back up, or a week and then it's back up? Then like, yeah, you'd still have type 2 because you haven't like kept it there. That's not where it's baseline. Because like it takes your body a second to achieve a new baseline. And that is why consistency really matters. Perfection doesn't matter. It's consistently. Like, yes, you have to toe the line and be like 80% in, 20% living your life. But like, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. But if you do it consistently and you're in normal for a consistent amount of time, then I don't think you would be pre or type 2. Someone said, if anyone hates ACV, I found it more palatable with carrot juice and ginger. Yum. Only thing about carrot juice is it's sugary, very sugary. When you juice a carrot, you extract, like carrots are inherently sweet for the most part. When you juice it, you actually create like a fruit juice essentially. So just be mindful of the amount. I also posted a video about a company that is called Good Idea, and they created a drink that has 5 essential amino acids and like chromium, and in partnership, those 2 things like have the same effect on your blood sugar as apple cider vinegar, but it tastes like sparkling water. I'm obsessed. I live in Canada and I'm paying like an insane amount of duties and shipping just because I like it so much and I want to have it. That's how much I like endorse that product. Someone said, do I exercise? I live like in a city where you walk a lot. So I walk a lot, like a lot of my errands I do in my neighborhood, and I walk and I do it. I do like arm weights, you know, Pilates, things like that. But I will fully acknowledge that like I come from a family of people that like do yoga on Christmas Eve. So I'm almost like averse to exercise. My mom used to teach aerobics when I was younger. Like I exercise because I know I need to, and I actually like to indulge in just like movement. So again, doing my errands on foot, you know, cleaning my house for an hour, like scrubbing the sink. I do Pilates and I do like workouts that create more functionality and ease in those things. I go for walks, like just like hikes types of things, like hilly walks. So that kind of exercise is like more my speed. But if you are going to exercise and you have inflammation in your body, you need to make sure that you're not doing anything too crazy, because exercise causes inflammation if it like creates stress. If you work out too hard and too long, the response is a cortisol one, and the result, the damage done, is inflammation. So be easy on yourself. Pilates, yoga, hiking, walking. Those are the types of workouts that you want to do. Swimming, aquasides. I love deep water aquasides. It's my favorite thing ever. So those are the types of things you want to do when you exercise. You never, like, if you're not well, if your body is in strife, you have eczema, psoriasis, type 2 diabetes, there's probably inflammation going on, you don't want to be punishing at all. You want to be gentle, kind, considerate. Those are the things those are the words you want to embody in this journey. And I think sometimes we forget that because the purveying message in, like, you know, popular culture is that, like, you gotta work out hard. If you don't work out hard, you're lazy, you didn't want it. If you're sick, it's because you got it and you have to, like, beat it out of yourself. And that's just not it, honestly. If you don't, like, love yourself and do it from, like, a loving place, it rarely ever sticks. Because, I mean, nobody wants to hate themselves for that long. And also, like, if you love yourself, I think the effort feels different if you're doing it from a place of love. So I do exercise. Again, long answer to a short question. I do exercise, but I choose things that are, like, a little bit more in flow and gentle than things that are, like, I've done CrossFit once and I'll never do it again. I did F45 once and I will never do it again. Kudos to the people who love it, but I hate that kind of stuff. So if you do too, it doesn't mean, like, you know, in order to heal, you don't have to start, like, being a crazy fitness person. Just, sorry, scrolling questions. Okay, they should really just organize this so much better. Does lemon water work the same as apple cider vinegar? No, it doesn't, unfortunately. How can I stabilize my sugars throughout the night? Please and thank you in advance. You have to have a snack before bed. So you don't want it to be too heavy of a snack. You don't want it to have, like, very many carbs at all. You want it to be fiber, protein, and fat. So I really like a seed cracker with, like, a piece of cheese. I love that. Like a spread of cottage cheese, because then you get protein and you get a little bit of fat, and then you get the fiber from the seed crackers. It's like I do maybe 1 or 2 of those. Sleep like a baby. A couple bites of, like, a chia seed pudding, but one that, you know, maybe you have, like, nut butter in there, or maybe there's, like, coconut milk, so you're just, like, you know, covering the bases. I also like just, like, a dip, like 2 or 3 blackberries just, like, dipped in, like, a high protein, high fat yogurt with a little bit of cinnamon. I'll have, like, maybe 4 of those because they're, like, big. Blackberries are pretty big. Because, again, you don't want it to be a big snack. It's just something to just hold and sustain you. I hope that helps. Metformin. My doctor said it's okay to take apple cider vinegar with those pills. Yeah, sweet. Do it. Again, anything that you can do to help your blood sugar naturally while you're on metformin, you should still do. Like, just because you're on metformin does not mean that you still can't do things to make you feel good and better in your body and help your body process the metformin that it takes daily, you know? Body loves to be supported. So glad you're here. So glad I found you. Welcome. Also, while I'm scrolling, just letting everyone know, the Blood Sugar Fix 12-week program is starting on May 1st. We are covering all the pillars that we talk about. Gut health, blood sugar, inflammation, everything. Because it's more than just one thing. What are some good carbs? I mean, they're not, like, no carb is bad in that sense. Like, I'm not a vilifier. Really, I'm not. Like, I love cinnamon buns. So some people would consider that a bad carb. But it was, like, sourdough cinnamon buns are so hype. I love them. They're my favorite. But I think anything that's processed. So, like, a processed carb. Like, if it's a cookie and it's, like, a cookie that was, like, made with, like, vegetable oil and, like, sweet things, or, like, one of those, like, 0-calorie cookies or something like that, I think that's probably a carb I would stay away from. I'd sooner have the cookie than I would have the, like, cookie-like thing. I think any carb eaten without your blood sugar in mind is, like, a bad carb, but they aren't inherently bad. It's just how we consume them might be the bad thing. What's the sparkling drink name again? I didn't catch it. It's called Good Idea. So I put a link in my bio to it. If you use my code, you get 10% off. And like, I'm not shitting you. It's so good. It's amazing. I love it so much. Like, I'm sad that there's a gap between what I have left and how long my next shipment is going to take. Because it's so great. And it's like, again, if you're someone who wants to be cocktailing, if you are someone who likes to eat pasta, you like to eat sandwiches, like, take a Good Idea with you and drink that first. And you will notice no shift negatively in your blood sugar. I swear to it. And there's so much science behind it. Like, if you click on the link in my bio and you go to their website, they will show you the clinical studies. I'm actually getting a continuous glucose monitor, and I'm going to be testing a lot of things, including that, just to show you, because it's amazing. I love it so much. Also, all of these are posted on all of these all of these TikTok lives are posted on my YouTube. I post it like the next day. So today I just posted the one from yesterday, and then this one will go up tomorrow, and vice versa. Or not vice versa, and so forth. That's what I meant. Just in case you like are hopping in now and you're like, what did you say at the beginning? You can go back and look tomorrow. Okay. Where can I sign up? So all of the signups for everything. So what I will say is that if you really want to get deep on these 3 pillars, I also have a free workshop webinar. It's called Fix Your Blood Sugar. The Fix Your Blood Sugar webinar. If you click the link in my bio, you can watch that there, and that will give you all the information on those 3 pillars, but also on the program and how we talk about those 3 pillars in the program. So that's in my bio. The blood sugar workshop is also linked in my bio. And just joining the Blood Sugar Fix, if you don't want to do the webinar and you just want to join, it is also linked in my bio, and you can go to that page as well. You can also join my free newsletter. I send one out once every like 1 or 2 weeks. Sometimes my weeks get busy offline, so it just happens. And then I give you like just like some free tips in there as well. Okay. Questions. Oops. Missed. Do I think sweeteners are still as bad as sugar, like the stuff in zero sugar snacks? I actually don't think it's the sweet, so I just think that anything that is processed is not good for you. Anything that is artificial is not good for you. That's like a philosophy that I believe. People will disagree with me, and that is fine, because we are all allowed to politely and peacefully disagree. But I personally, if I'm drinking things that have a lot of like artificial sweetener in it, if I'm eating foods with a lot of artificial sweetener in it, then I'm also likely to deduce that I'm probably not drinking water like straight. I'm probably not eating the whole food version of the processed food thing that I'm eating. And the whole food version has the things that my body actually needs and wants. And so when you are in a healing phase, whole foods matter so much. And again, it's like, if you love Coke Zero or you love Diet Pepsi, have it. I'm not saying don't have it, but also don't kid yourself in thinking that, oh, well, artificial, like, it has zero sugar, or zero caffeine, so this is like hydrating. It's not. I just think unprocessed foods are the best. If you want a protein coffee, I'm going to post a recipe maybe Saturday. Sorry, actually, I have something else tomorrow. Saturday or Monday, about how you make like a protein creamer base that is like of whole foods, so that you can have protein in your coffee, but you don't have to use something that's processed. I just think anything artificial, processed is not great. People can and will disagree with me, and that is your right, but that's what I believe for myself. Do I recommend magnesium and L-tryptophan? I recommend magnesium. I don't know about the L-tryptophan. Why would you take that? I take every single night. If you aren't taking magnesium, you're probably deficient in it. If you're taking vitamin D and not taking magnesium, you're probably deficient in it, because the body requires magnesium to take up vitamin D correctly. So you have to make sure that those work in tandem. How can I stabilize my sugars through the night? Like I said, a snack before bed is Gorgina, always. A snack before bed will help you so much when you are like getting to bed and trying to like sleep through the night. Very important and not always necessary. It won't be forever. Like, there's something that I share in the blood sugar workshop. They're butterbark bites, and they're things that you eat in between meals to keep your blood sugar stable in between meals. Because initially, when you're doing new things, your body has to adjust. And if you are starting to, eat different foods, you're starting to have breakfast, you're starting to eat bigger meals, your body still might feel some things because your blood sugar is unstable. It's feeling unsure. And so these butterbark bites give your body everything it needs in between meals to have zero effect on your blood sugar, but to keep you energized, sail you to the next meal. Because that's really what it's about. It's like an adjustment period. Also, if I miss your question, it's just because the way that these load, it loads everything that I missed, and it's all at once, and you have no control until it's a pain. What kind of magnesium is best for a diabetic? I just think the best magnesium is magnesium biglycinate. That's the one I take. I think I take 400 milligrams. I'm just trying to look over where it is. 450 milligrams a day. I take it at night. Before bed. Helps me sleep, I think. That's what they say. I don't know how to answer that. What vitamins should I be taking? I don't know what to take since I've never taken any milk thistle. Honestly, there are some universal truths, and again, I'm really wary of sharing fully supplement protocols outside of programs because I don't need the heat. I'm not your doctor. I'm not a doctor. In the Blood Sugar Fix, we talk about supplements at length. Milk thistle is good for your liver, but again, if you're just doing milk thistle and nothing else, it's milk thistle, not a miracle. So it requires a more deeper approach. Again, there are some things everyone should take magnesium because if you're not, you're probably deficient. But supplemental protocols, I try not to do too much of that on these just because, this is free. If you paid me, we'd have a different agreement, Is there a thing as too much protein? I doubt you'll probably get too much protein. I doubt it. Most people don't get enough. So the thing about protein that you want to remember is that, things like protein powders can really upset your stomach if they're not, really on the up and up. And if they're, whey and you have an issue with whey, or whatever. Sometimes protein powders, it gets the job done, but it might put you in a little bit of discomfort. So trying to get your protein from whole food sources, again, is always going to be your best bet. You're always going to get so much value for that bite because, again, if you're eating a steak, for instance, you are getting so much more in that steak than just the protein. You're getting vitamins, minerals, you're probably getting some healthy fats. You're getting the whole gamut, all in that steak bite. If you take a protein just supplement, you're just getting protein. So you're not making the most of that bite. And that's really, again, the things that I teach in all my programs is that we want to make the most of the bites that we take. Be intentional at least 80% of the time. And everything that I talk about is the 80% of the time. The 20% of the time where I'm living and I'm drinking and having a great time, you don't see that because I don't post that kind of stuff online. And so there is a good time to be had, but 80% of the time, if you are thinking about all of this and being mindful of all of this, that 20% of the time you can enjoy yourself in a very carefree manner because it crowds out, you're doing something 80% of the time. Whatever you do that 20% of the time is being pretty crowded out, unless you're honestly shooting up or something. That's different, obviously. But I feel we all have to remember that it's consistency, not perfection. We don't have to give up everything that we love in order to heal our bodies and feel good and live a good, feeling amped life. But we do have to find better ways to do those things. What's a good protein powder I recommend? I recommend anyone that's bone broth based or bone based. Those ones are really good. They're very expensive. I honestly I don't have them very much around because they are so expensive. $100 for like a small tub, which is like, I guess not that much, but I also, again, I eat more protein. I eat a lot of protein, so I'm like, okay. But that being said, just anyone that is made of bones or like bone broth. So yeah. Okay, so it's 10:52. Get your last questions in. If I can answer them, I will. If not, I'll be back tomorrow morning around 10. Let me look at my schedule. Yeah, like around 10 tomorrow. So if you miss anything today or you don't get your question today, you can get it in tomorrow if you can make it. High protein snacks. I'm not a big snacker. You can make like and this is not an authentic hummus, but like a hummus-like thing, and mix cottage cheese into it. You want to sneak. Like, the thing about protein is you gotta be sneaky. You gotta be stealth. Like, for me, my collagen powder, 1 scoop, has 9 grams of protein. Stealth. I don't even feel it. It's just like in my coffee. I make like a agua chia fresca every day. So it's like, I'm getting like 11 grams of protein, like right there. And I was just like drinking something. So I think it's really important to like find ways to be stealth about protein intake as well. Thank you for answering our questions. Have a wonderful day. Thanks. So again, I'm going to log off, but if you have any questions, you can hit me up on Instagram. It's just so much easier to DM over there. Also check out all my programs and the link in my bio. You know the drill. And I'll be back tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, everyone. It is a beautiful sunshiny day in where I live, and it hasn't been sunshiny for a bit, so I'm thrilled. Have a wonderful one.